Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is March 30th, 2026, almost to April Fool's Day, okay? And get ready for some stupid shit posting all over X once that day comes, okay? So anyways, I have lots of news for you today. A lot of tweets I've selected. The weekend was a little bit quiet, but there is some good stuff from the weekend as well. Now, as always, this is not financial advice. This is all just my own biased opinions based on these tweets and a little bit of charting. Okay, so taking a look at the charts, ETH is up about 4.5%, which is fantastic. BTC 2.6, gold is up 2.4%. It pumped like crazy. No, not really. But anyways, I'm okay with this. I like this. I like this crabbing along in here inside my range. And I hope it kind of does it for quite a long time. But obviously, I prefer it to pump like crazy, but I really don't want it to dump. Anyhow, so that's that. You can take that information and do with it as you please. I don't know if this is a false candle or if this is going to revert and go back down. Who knows? Nobody ever knows. But people will tell you what they think they know. And so forth. I guess I should add hype. Hype is up 1% as well. It's looking pretty good inside my range here. Now, like I said, I did have my range down here before, but I took out these stable coins down here that were down here and put them to work somewhere else. Okay, so moving on. So today I'm going to do a little bit different on Pharaohs. Instead of reading the digest, which is kind of the same thing over and over, just these guys are in trouble, these guys are not in trouble, mints and burns and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to just take a look at this risk adjusted yield tab. So you can go in here and you can sort by coin, you can sort by TVL, you can sort by APR, and I'm going to just choose a random one. So I'm just going to go today, I'm going to talk about, let's choose this one. World Liberty Financial USD1 has a 2.6% APR on a lending opportunity. Now the lending opportunity is Lista lending, which I have no idea what this is. USD1 has a B safety rating, so it's not too bad. Now I'm sure you know what World Liberty USD1 is, and if you don't, then you probably don't listen to me blare hot air into this microphone for an hour. Okay, so anyways, there is some opportunities here. You can check them out. You can sort by all kinds of different metrics. TVL, I sorted by TVL and to see which one just happens to be the biggest of these yield source. And Syrup USDC happens to have 3.3 billion and still juicing out like 4.3%. But the safety rating is a C+. So consider that. Think about that. You can sort by APY as well if you really want to go degen and just look for the highest APRs. Now, of course, you don't want to do that, but you can go to USDC. If you land USDC on Beefy, I'm going to go to this and see where this is because that's 8.6%. That's pretty decent looking. Of course, it just sends me straight to Beefy instead of to the actual source, which is a little bit hard. I'll have to dig around a little bit deeper to find out. Maybe it is sending me exactly to where the source is. I don't think so. No, because there's not even a USDC in there. Maybe on Plasma. That would make sense since Plasma just got like racked with all that USDR stuff. So USDC is like, hey, come in, 8%, come and lend your, no, this does say versus USD 3 million T-bill. I don't know. So anyways, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper on myself. It does have sources. Let's see if I can open this up. Beefy Edge Ultra. If I do click it, it should send me directly to it, but it doesn't. So let's clear all this and do Edge. See, Edge Ultra Yield, which happens to be not on Plasma, which is Gearbox. Which doesn't look too scary, of course, but do your due diligence, get in there, check out what your collateral is on Monad here. So if you go to Gearbox, let's just open Gearbox and see what it is. Gearbox, of course, Gearbox protocol. I shouldn't probably use search, but I'm not going to send any transactions anyways. Open yield. come on, hurry up. All networks, monad, ultra yield. There's quite a bit of collaterals in there, but let's open it up and see them one by one. Of course, where's the collaterals? So yeah, so we've got this M edge, whatever that is. I don't know. Sorry, dudes. A USDCTO. So that's a whole bunch of stable coins in there. NCRV, M edge, W monad. Yeah, it doesn't look too terrible, but I have to look at this M edge. I don't know what this M edge is, but you can lend your stablecoins there. So fantastic tool. Check out Pharaohs if you want to. It's not a partner or sponsor of this show. I just really like it and I want to share it with you guys. Let's move on to the news. So the first tweet we have here is Korn. Korn is retweeting this thing. He's like, why did they name this after my least favorite town in Massachusetts? Canton Network, come and get your coffee at Canton Network if you're in ECC. Canton Network is all over the news today, but yesterday, I read an article by Gabriel Shapiro. Lexnode is a fantastic read. I tweeted out a little shill of this thing. It's not a simple read. You can check my tweet and you can read these little teasers to see what's kind of in there, but basically he goes in and just destroys the idea of what Canton has done, or is what they are purporting to have done. It's a very good read. Like, I'm going to open it up and just kind of show you, like, it's a long read. And it's clearly written by someone who knows the law about equities and stocks and stock law. Like, he's a lawyer. He's our crypto lawyer. But he's quoting, like, all the laws. He's explaining why, what we're doing right now is wrong in the crypto space, trying to tokenize these assets in a way that doesn't actually tokenize them. It just it's like what he calls it cosplay. So it's just, we're just saying it's tokenized, but really it's still not decentralized at all. Like, all of the stocks are still custodied, held in custody, right? Custodianed. Yeah, anyways, so they're still held in custody by centralized entities that don't even have to follow the instructions of the token. So, they're still it's just like adding complexity to the system that is already there by tokenizing it. So it's basically a big marketing scheme, the way these things are being done. And the only defense to that I read to his report here is that, this is how we get it done fast. Like, if you're going to do it right? Like, I retweeted out the idea, and what did I say here? Of course I've lost it. So I retweeted out the idea, and I said, migration is more difficult than ethnocide. So my point here is that, like, trying to get the traditional stocks on chain is a nightmare. Okay, it's terrible. It's just, I don't think it's worth all the effort. Of course, it's great if we can get like traditional finance or institutional funds and big money to come and play with crypto, but I think we're kind of past that. Like the whole point of the stocks was so that people could, invest in companies, and companies could raise equity to expand or to grow their platform, or to share in the benefits of their. Obviously, they didn't do it purely to share in the benefits, but mostly to raise money and then share in the benefits of those businesses. So more people could be owners of those businesses. But just running an ICO, like a proper token launch on chain, can do that already. You can run a token on chain and run a real world business and just feed your revenue into a smart contract to distribute it however your system plans to distribute that, whether it be buybacks or dividends or token share or whatever the case may be, right? It doesn't have to be a DeFi protocol with, like a liquidity pool and everything is automated on chain, but the actual stock now is the ownership is legally, if you put it on chain, the ownership can be legally binding, and the actual token is a legally binding ownership of that company in that sense. Now, of course, you can read through his article. He goes into this way more depth than what I'm talking about, and how some of the regulations are there. Like, there's all kinds of stuff in here that just, like, when you read it, you learn, and then you got to read it again to really learn. But like all kinds of things, like, regulations I didn't know regulation had some things like, entities cannot exceed a certain amount of volume, so they can't like wash trade, and they have caps on how many tokens they can hold, which we don't generally have in crypto. Like, remember the balancer whale Humpy used to had massive amount of governance power on balancer and kind of just push through shitty proposals, but not terrible, but kind of shitty ones. So that kind of stuff can be avoided through regulation, because it's illegal to do so. So there's, and KYC and AML stuff and stuff like that. That all that stuff can be done on chain with ZK proofs, and to hide privacy, to hide your identity, but to maintain the actual ledger on chain. So the ledger on chain is the final result of who owns what. You can hide the identities, but the way it's being done in now, the way stocks are being done, tokenized stocks, is it's just like an instruction. It's like you're just using the token to send intent, as opposed, and then the centralized entity has its own ledger and its own stock holdings, and it will update its ledger based on what the on-chain stuff is doing, and this is pointless, right? So I purport that we should just forget about the old stocks and just focus on new companies or new offerings and try to encourage them to come on chain. Now, you can read through this entire article, and he does spend a little bit of time talking about something that I believe he built, or he's part of the team building that. And what does it mean? It's this here, no, maybe it's not CyberCorp's. I think it is this CyberCorp's protocol. Yeah, so, and it's an idea of how to actually create these, it's a proof of concept, I guess, or even just a live protocol. I don't know, I haven't done my research on it, that actually is putting stocks on chain, real legal entities on chain, real stocks, or real ownership. Maybe we don't call them stocks anymore, but real ownership of companies on chain, is as far as I can tell. And yeah, so you can check this out, read through this article. Give yourself a good hour to read it. It's a long one, and you'll have to read paragraphs twice and stuff like that. So give yourself a good amount of time to read it, and let's move on. Okay, so here we had some brutal liquidations apparently. So breaking, Bitcoin dumped 1,700 from 66 to 65, right? And liquidated over 185 million worth of longs in 60 minutes, so in an hour. But then it pumped $1,400 in 15 minutes and liquidated nearly 14 million shorts. Okay, so now people are degenerate. Now I still have to talk about FX protocol, but before I get into that, let's look at the chart. If we look at the chart here, and we zoom out, and we look at the chart here, and it hasn't even it didn't. The candle yesterday was smaller than the majority of candles in the past month or the past 2 months. The volume was not even that big. The price movement was not even that big. Look at these. Look at the volume down here. Look at the candle, and it just, people just getting liquidated. It's just degenerate gambling. Widen your goddamn range, guys. You don't have to win. You don't have to get rich on a single trade. Now, maybe I'm being chicken shit, and that's why I'll never be stinking rich, because I don't take 50x leverage longs where I think the bottom might be with a large substantial amount of my portfolio. But call me chicken shit if you will, but I'm not getting liquidated either. But if we move over to FX Protocol, what they're saying about this is 85 million longs got liquidated in 60 minutes, and then the rebound wiped out those shorts. On FX Protocol, you can get 7x on BTC and on ETH with liquidation breaks. It automatically rebalances your position before it gets nuked, so you keep your exposure and ride out the volatility. So yeah, like this, apparently this would not have liquidated you if you were on FX Protocol, but there's two reasons why. Like, first of all, the max is 7x, which I don't think these people were running, because they wouldn't have got liquidated if they were running 7x leverage positions. I don't think so, unless they bought the complete. Unless they went long at the complete top, and I don't know. You'd have to double check it, right? I'm just assuming based on just common sense, right? Instead of actually mathing it out, and I'm not going to do that on this call with you, but I don't want to. Anyhow, also, like I said before, like I've said many times, like they have soft liquidations where you start to lose your collateral, but then your collateral gets bought back as it rebounds. So in cases like this, where protocols like this is obviously snipers, or we'll call them snipers, but maybe the snipers is not the best word. I don't know, mercenaries or predators, right? Whatever you want to say. This is obviously them going, hey, there's a whole shit ton of longs. Let's liquidate all these guys, and then they just pump, they just dump the price. They get their liquidations profits because they short, right? They short and then they sell, right? And they dump the price. They make off their shorts. They make off all the liquidations because they're counter. Maybe Binance, or I don't know where this is. Yeah, Binance, of course. The chart is on Binance, right? But it would have been liquidations all over the place, right? All of these centralized exchanges make their liquidation fees and stuff like that, and then the on-chain protocols as well will make liquidation fees as well, and then they pump it back up. Bring it back to market, and they liquidate some more people. So obviously you could call this predatory or market manipulation or what have you, but it's like every single time, like once a week, I see this stuff, and it's all just degenerate people just going crazy long on stuff. Now, anyhow, that's that. So you can figure that out. You can look at that. I highly suggest if you do want to do some leverage. You want to get a little bit more ROI, a little bit more risk and ROI. I would highly suggest you just check out Protocol FX for doing this. It's a lot safer. It's a lot more hands-off, and check it out. Okay, moving on. So here we have Frax. Frax is retweeting this Aave video. So Aave V4 is now live on Ethereum. I did do a video a little while ago on it. You can check out my video if you want to understand easily how it works. Let me show you what it looks like. So basically this one, just search Aave V4 Ceazor, this one here. And I explain quickly in just 7 minutes how this thing kind of works. And then of course you can dig deeper to really get into, geek out and understand all of the math and everything that's in there. But it'll give you a nice good idea. So Frax Finance is on Aave V4 right away. So Frax USD, FRX USD is live on day one of Aave V4 as we continue bringing forth the world's financial system on chain. So this is kind of, I love this because what it means is that, DeFi is still building. There is still new ideas. Maybe it's tough on like altcoins. We don't see the pump that we wanted. We don't feel like crypto is like, going to the moon. We're all in like dancing in Valhalla. We don't feel this way, but it's nice to see that like protocols are still building and still shipping, and new ideas are still being put forward, and improvements on things are going. And Frax is along on the ride with Aave here. Okay, moving on. So here I have Yearn Finance. Over the weekend, they released a part 2 of this article. Actually, yeah. So I think it was on Friday. So they released this part 2 of this why the USD secret sauce leveraging stablecoin yields. So they're explaining in depth. I like this format of like, instead of pumping out a huge long article that explains everything, they're going to do these like 3-part series, and you can read the first one here, and I talked about it when it first came out, and here I am talking about part 2, and when part 3 comes out, I'll talk about that as well. But let's kind of read through some of the headings, and I'll talk a little bit about each one of them. Leverage yield from a single flash loan. So this is common stuff. This is old school leverage looping. So instead of actually sending 6 transactions, they just take a flash loan, and they just use that flash loan to build a looped position on lending markets, and they're just sharing kind of how this code works and so forth. And you can read through it, but it says the reason why looping is used in DeFi is to turn 100K deposit into a 300K deposit with looping, and you can get like boosted yield on that, is assuming that you're using interest-bearing collateral, or the position somehow that lending market is incentivizing the borrow or lending of assets on that protocol, or both. Okay, so moving on, here we have part 2, rewards that compound themselves. So he's like, they're using a lot of protocols now, like Morpho are using Merkle, and Merkle's kind of a pain to claim with contracts and stuff like that. But Yearn's doing it for you, and basically when you deposit into these Yearn vaults, this is not new stuff, but it socializes all of the claiming, gas costs, and then it swaps those assets for the underlying assets for you, socialized. So all that gas cost is kind of put into shared amongst all of the depositors instead of everybody doing it themselves. And then also you don't have to go and check it out and stuff like that and deposit all the time. And then the last thing is they're using auctions instead of market sells. So basically they're getting the best possible price, and they're not paying trading fees. So they don't have, when they swap the reward asset or the other asset that happens to be there, they're using an auction. So they're like basically saying, hey, who wants to buy this for $10? Who wants to buy this for 9.9, 9.8, 9. And then it's slowly degrading or going down until someone says, yeah, I'll take that. And then they'll pay the swap fees and all that, and they get the best possible price they can for those reward tokens. Okay. Strategy that knows when to act. So this is like a tend trigger. Let me read what it says here so that like you can kind of see. So the strategy rebalances only when the followings are true. So leverage has drifted outside the buffer band. With a 3x target and 0.25x buffer, the strategy tolerates leverage between 2.7 and 3.25. Small fluctuations in this range are ignored. They cost more to correct than they're worth. So basically, like if you think about it, like sometimes the leverage will change because the asset prices change, right? Like say if you have ETH and you're borrowing USDC and you're buying ETH, then the price of ETH is going to determine your leverage, right? So as that leverage starts moving around, moving up or down, if it's only moving within this small buffer range, then it doesn't trigger actual rebalances, which cost gas and swap fees. And I did, so there are like sometimes they're using auctions, but sometimes they have to use actual swaps to get out of like positions they're not going to use an auction, right? To unwind a leverage. Gas is acceptable. So if the gas is okay, then they do the swap, because sometimes there's gas spikes or what have you. Enough time has passed, so they're not going to do it like every 3 seconds. They're only going to do it when a certain amount of time has happened. So again, this is to avoid unneeded transactions, right, on everybody, because everyone's paying for it. All of the depositors are paying for it, so they're protecting them. And then there's enough capacity. The strategy checks that there's sufficient deposit capacity and flash loan liquidity before attempting a rebalance, avoiding wasting gas on transactions that would fail. Okay, so check that out. Yield optimization across strategies. So the off-chain optimizer, so they have this Python system that's kind of like, it's like a keeper, like an AI sort of type thing. It's not really AI like what you would say, but you can think of it kind of like that. It's like very proprietary optimizer program that kind of checks things. The keeper moves the money, multi-layered optimization. So yeah. What YVUSD offers, so simple and efficient leveraging with flash loans, rewards that compound with leverage, automatic leverage management to avoid drift, and yield optimization between strategies. So if you do want to deposit in that, you can go to my front end. I do have USD here. It's right here. USD Y Vault. This is unlocked version. This is if you deposit through here, then you can withdraw immediately. I'm currently working on the locked version because it requires different contract integration. So I'll have that up eventually. But as it is right now, if you want to deposit through this one and deposit into that vault, then you're going to help support my channel and so forth. However, I would highly suggest you to understand this protocol, this specific vault, and perhaps some of these other vaults are more attuned to your risk appetite. So you can check out all of them. Of course, you just click here and then you can go to Yearn and check them out. As I say, like this one here does have increased risk. It has a higher risk appetite, and it does, like I said, it does have the possibility for you to lock or not lock your positions. And there's cross chain going on, there's bridging, there's leverage looping and stuff like that. So Yearn itself gives this a risk score of 3 out of 5. The higher the more risky. So, and this is why, because there are different kinds of possible things going on. Leverage looping, duration deposits, because they're using principal tokens like Pendle and so forth. And if they're buying those tokens, they don't want to redeem them immediately, because if you redeem them, you might have a loss. So yeah, you could check this out. I think it's pretty good. It's worth checking out for sure. Okay, moving on. So here we have ETH strategy, retweeting Vitalik. Let's see what ETH strategy says. ETH strategy affirms the direction set out by the mandate. Will help translate it into thoroughly reasoned strategies from my domain, and will maintain an exclusive and energetic focus on the mission-critical tasks necessary for its implementation from today until the last day at the ETH Foundation. Okay, so Vitalik is basically retweeting someone else, talking about basically saying the same thing and saying, we are all going to work together at the ETH Foundation to bring about the mandate of Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, which is, to be completely decentralized, credibly neutral, permissionless, actual, a chain, a financial infrastructure for the people, by the people, as opposed to something black boxed and controllable by certain entities. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here we have Zacodil. He's changed his profile picture to a black dot. I wonder why he did that. I don't remember what it used to be actually, but anyhow, let's read what he says here. So Polymarket just told you who their real users are. Their new CLI tagline, the fastest way for AI agents to access prediction markets, not traders, not analysis agents. 30% of Polymarket wallets are already bots, 37% of them are profitable, and only 7 to 13% of humans can say the same. One agent made 4,200 trades in a month. with returns of blah, 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 blah. So yeah. So lots of humans are doing nothing. Lots of agents are going like crazy on everywhere. Now, there has always been bots everywhere, like arbitrage bots. People have always had, there's, super autistic smart guys, building like bots, doing like stuff that keep DeFi going. So there's always been bots, and I've always said that like bots are not a terrible thing. But now we have prediction markets, and instead of bots, kind of just, doing health check things or just keeping markets efficient and price like arbitraged and prices accurate and stuff like that. Now we have robots betting money against humans and basically taking their money. So people are setting up bots. Now, the bot doesn't want to win in the sense that it doesn't care. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have any like kind of, for the most part, it doesn't have any like financial desire or greed. It's doing it because some human has built it to do this. So the human is basically sitting at home, drinking coffee, watching Netflix, playing video games. Meanwhile, his bot is like kicking your ass on prediction markets and taking your money. And you're trying to bet against him. So I don't know, like I don't do a whole lot of gambling. I don't do a whole lot of botting, but how can you like, it's like you wake up in the morning and you're trying to like, check out some prediction markets to bet on. And these bots have been like scraping data all night long, and they scrape enough data. It takes you an hour to scrape data. It takes them like a millisecond to scrape the same amount of data, and they're making more informed calculations and more informed decisions to bet against you. Now, is it impossible to beat them? Should we just all give up? No, I don't think so. But, it's good to see that like AI agents are here. Now, do you need an AI agent to succeed? Maybe. Depends. I guess it depends more on what you're doing and so forth. If you're just kind of holding positions and stuff like that, maybe not. But if you are playing this prediction market, I think prediction markets are harder because like they're actually, you can increase your odds substantially by gathering information. Whereas if you're betting on like just token prices, it's kind of, it's literally gambling because you don't know what large worth individuals are going to do. It's much harder to predict, but like some question about like real world stuff, it's a little bit easier to predict, so you can get that information. But now the AI bots can, like I said, do it way better than us. So humans are losing, AI bots are winning, and AI bot percentage is growing on Polymarket. Now, here we have Simon Sinek. He's like talking about Polygon and Polymarket. So Polymarket's usage is up 100x, but Polygon price is down 90%. This tells us three things. Let's see what he says. As long as you are building something with a proper product market fit and abstract UX, the ecosystem shouldn't matter. So he's saying you could put it anywhere. Underlying chains don't accrue value from applications built on top, especially in the case of AI agents, because AI agents aren't going to like use emotion or be like, Polymarket's going to moon because, Polygon is going to moon because Polymarket is on Polygon. They won't do that. They're only going to buy gas tokens because they need them to send transactions even if they do need them now. And then infra is dead. Long live the actual use cases. Anyhow, so I think AI agents that's the main reason Polygon hasn't pumped. Now there are of course other aspects to this, like token inflation, vesting tokens, speculation, all kinds of like market makers, all these kinds of other aspects to the reason why Polygon token might be down. Like especially like it's I'm pretty sure it's the incentivizes the validator set as well. So there's inflation like crazy. It's the same thing with ETH, right? Like ETH is has significant inflation, but ETH also has like significant utility. Like tons of people are using it as collateral, and there's all that kind of stuff. Now there is like all the things that ETH has, Polygon has as well. Like you can use it as collateral, you can put it in liquidity pools, so you can stake it for like liquid staking tokens. All of this is the same. However, it's much smaller ecosystem and market cap, and people don't like it's a copycat of ETH in some ways. So I think it's hard to say, to correlate the two and say that like just because Polygon or Polymarket is pumping, that Polygon should pump as well. But I don't think that's what Simon's trying to say. I think he's trying to say the opposite. Like, yeah, you can't correlate these two. You can't say Polygon will pump because Polymarket is doing well. And I agree with him on that. Okay, moving on. So here we have Pandora. So more about these prediction markets. So here we have this guy Diego. I've been watching him for a while, and he's using a OpenClaw agent. So every morning he wakes up, and the agent sends him a report saying, "Hey, check out these opportunities." And he's like, "Oh, I found a pretty cool one." I assume he took advantage of this opportunity, and it's like, I'm trying to read it. So the question is, Sonic Labs new stablecoin USDSD market cap exceed $2 million by April 1st, which is tomorrow, I think, or the next day. And then he goes through and he's checking like why the AI bot has suggested this as a possible opportunity. Now I like this because basically he's not given his money to a robot and say, "Hey, make me some money and I'll just go play like Zelda for all morning," right? No, he's actually using it to find him opportunities, and then he's using his own intuition, his own logic, his own thoughts to decide whether or not he should execute on this opportunity. And now he's using Pandora to do this because Pandora already has a pretty healthy and well set up command line interface so that the AI agent can easily interact and scrape this data for him and give him his reports. Now he could set up his AI bot to actually execute these trades, but no, he's not. He's using the AI bot as an assistant to him, and I like this much better than what this is. What this other post here, Vadim Zakhodil, is actually. What is the word I'm looking for? Is actually. I can't think of the word. Which is actually suggesting that is happening, which is the AI agents are actually opening and closing the trades, maybe even making the markets. So the people who own these AI agents are actually doing nothing. It's like passive income completely, right? So I'm a little bit scared of that, especially of a future like that, where only the AI agents are the ones who are actually doing anything. And so forth, and you kind of feel it in crypto Twitter too. Like there's a lot less discussion going on because people are now just like using their AI to answer questions. Okay, moving on. So here we have Banteg. Banteg is on a rampage this weekend. He built this thing called the Milady Shrinkifier. I retweeted it a few times, but he's been working on it like and pumping out all of these updates for it and improvements and stuff like that. And he's obviously having a lot of fun. And it's fantastic to see the bunny back out here just as pushing code and sharing it and open sourcing it. And someone on the Milady side of this has forked it and made it like the opposite. So instead of what this thing does is basically it's a plugin for your Chrome, and then it basically when you're scrolling through Twitter, it just allows you to start blocking, like just filtering out Miladies. So anyone who has a Milady profile picture can get filtered out and stuff like that. And you like it's not completely just like a complete wipeout, right? You can kind of some people you can allow that stuff to come through, and some people you still like you see, and some people, you're just completely blocking, and it's just like kind of like gives you a little question. What do you want to do about this guy? What do you want to do about it? And you just kind of, and then it starts just filtering it all, and it's just fun for him. Like he's obviously having a ton of shit fun doing this, and he's been, you'll see him in the news, like what is popular today, and it's band tags like Milady Shrinkifier thing. Okay, so it's pretty cool. I like it. It's completely open source. You can download it. You can install it into your Chrome browser, and you can do the opposite. I saw the one where the guy's like, no, let's filter everything else, or let's highlight these and make them more powerful and more visual. This kind of stuff. So I like this. It's fun. It's cool, and he's just having some fun on crypto Twitter. Okay, so here we have Jay Bond. I kind of hate this kind of stuff. Like he's like, I'm officially leaving the NFT space. After 5 years, I realized that my journey is a significant setback on my career. And then he comes back the next day and says, yeah, that was just bullshit. I'm just lying, just engagement farming and having some fun. I'm never leaving the NFT space, blah, 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 blah. Now, I did reply to this guy, and I said, okay, which one of these, like, let me see what I said, see if I can see it. Yeah, so it says, he did not reply to me. Nobody did, but I replied to him. And I said, excuse my ignorance, but which collections are yours? I respect true art, but the NFT sector has become a blatant ripoff of each other's sector. So, like, it's just constant, like, oh, this one was successful, so I'm going to produce one that's almost exactly the same and be successful too. You see this all the time, right? Even the generative ones are questionable. Now, what I mean by that is, so the original I would consider art, but repeating it again and again by simply adding a single feature like a pipe or a cowboy hat, in my opinion, this is not art. Now, this is the statement I want to make. Art should be a celebration of years of mastery, not a weekend algorithmic stew. So a lot of NFTs, in my opinion, are slop. It's just like people produce one image and then they just kind of like use an algorithm to produce 1,000 or 10,000 images. And don't get me wrong, I have my own NFT as well, and it's produced the same way. But I don't really consider my NFT to be art. I consider it to be exactly what it is, and that is a tool that I try to use to get people to donate to me to help support my products. So the same thing that I'm doing with the Volts. If you go to my website, you can deposit into a Yearn Volt, and you can help support my channel or support me and help me keep doing the podcasts if that's something you want to do. And I also have this NFT where it's a generative NFT. I got an artist to build this for me to make these sandwiches. All the sandwiches have different ingredients and stuff like that. But I don't consider this to be like art. This is not something that took years of mastery. This was very easy to do, and this shouldn't, in my opinion, should not be considered art. It's just exactly what I say it is. It's a way to kind of sponsor me or to give me a little bit of funds, and you can get a cool NFT out of it. Does the NFT have any utility? No, it doesn't. I've sometimes had some ideas to give it some utility, but no, I haven't done it. Like there's only like, I don't know, like I think 30 something, 33 or something of them have been minted. So it's not, there's no utility on it. It does nothing. And it's just a picture, and you can consider it like a receipt as a donation and as a thank you. That's the way that NFT is. But if we go to, a lot of NFTs are not like that. They come across as being, cult, or you're part of a club, but really, are you? Like, are you really? Like, I guess maybe. And but mind you, maybe I'm salty, and maybe I'm just coping because I didn't hop on the NFT crave when it came out. I didn't own a Bored Ape. I didn't own like in this case, a Punk or a Milady or anything like that. So anyhow, there's that. So I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's ever done anything, but there's two things I don't like about it. Like, number one, I don't like the NFTs so much because I don't really think of them as art. I don't believe they are art, for the most part. And then I don't like posts where he's like, I'm leaving, but it's all bullshit. And he's just saying it so people will like reply to him. And then he's like, yeah, I was bullshitting you. I don't really like this kind of stuff either. But anyway, so moving on. So here we have Steakhouse Finance. So I retweeted this. I don't have anything here, but front end has been compromised. There's some phishing links on there. Be careful if you are a Steakhouse user and you're going to their front end. But again, we see this. We see this again and again and again. Legit, like secure protocols are compromised because their front end gets compromised. So someone takes over their front end through whether it be a SIM swap or they basically get admin to their front end URL, and then they push in a front end that looks the same but is interacting with different contracts. And I hate that this happens a lot. What you can do instead is download front ends to GitHub repos and run them locally. So then you're kind of safe in that way. But that's a lot, especially if you're like all over the place. It's much harder to do that for all of this stuff. But it's quite good in the sense that like if you're only using 2 or 3 protocols in DeFi, I would highly suggest you take some time to do it, and it's not that hard. It's actually pretty easy to do that. But that's if you are only using like 2 or 3 protocols, then it's quite easy. But if you're like degen like me and you're depositing into like 40 different places, then it becomes much harder to maintain like a library of repos. But anyhow, check it out. Don't use Steakhouse until they tell you that it's safe. And then still, verify, go to their Discord, wait, read, find out when it's safe. Make sure you're careful out there. Now, moving on. So here we have an interesting thing that happened on the weekend. So this was tweeted yesterday, March 29th. Some guy got banned from Hyperliquid. And then this guy's kind of, this ProMint X, he's kind of summarizing what happened. So the worst thing that Hyperliquid has ever done. So this person here, this is what this person's experience has been, this Maximim. So he supports Hyperliquid early, put 750,000 through their main wallet, trades there for months, uses the same address for 4 to 5 years, takes 2 months off, come back. Suddenly some tool calls him high risk and basically he's nuked off the front end. He can't even connect anymore. What the hell happened? Get your 7-day timeout on Discord. And so he goes to Discord, asks, gets his 7-day timeout. No explanation, no review, no way to defend yourself. Get kicked off of Hyperliquid. And if you go into this post, I did comment on it somewhere. And I'm like, I hate how the message is vague as possible. Why were you flagged? Is the question they should answer. And basically he goes to Discord and is like, why did I get flagged? And they just like repeat the question. They repeat it. It's like the answer that was given to him is just ridiculous. This means that your address has been flagged as high risk by an independent blockchain analytic provider. As such, it cannot access Hyperliquid blockchain using app hyperliquid.xyz. Now, that doesn't help him. Like, why is he high risk? Why was he declared high risk? And then he can debate it. But it's like the Hyperliquid front end team is basically just saying, yeah, it's not our fault. It's they told us to do it. And they're like, well, how do I fix it? Like, how do I find out why I'm high risk? And he's like, no answer. It's just like it's pretty bad. But now that if he were to have, what he could do is he could go and maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Hyperliquid front end is open source or not, but he could download that front end into a GitHub repo, run it locally, withdraw his money, get out, and then figure out what to do from there. Now, I wouldn't suggest him to continue to trade there, right? But it does kind of go to show you that Hyperliquid is not really a permissionless, decentralized DEX, even though they call themselves a DEX. Like their front end, basically, like he can interact with the contracts, And he can also ask, Claude to tell him, how can I withdraw my money by interacting with the contracts? He can do that as well. But it goes to show that the front ends are still, it's still all, what's the word I'm looking for again? Oh, Jesus. My brain is killing me today. It's still, the front ends are still questionable in the sense that whether or not they are actually permissionless or not, or, censorship resistant and stuff like that. This guy's been literally censored because some independent provider decided he was high risk. And who's that independent provider and why is he high risk? We don't know. Okay, moving on. So here we have Fend Interim. So he's like, a security panel in EthCC saying, people are saying that regulation is what is needed to solve security and SecOps in crypto. I worked with multiple big corporations in regulated industries. Their security is really, really bad. Believing that regulation solves these things is funny and sad. And then Gabriel says, LexNode says, co-signed by a lawyer. I replied to him, I said something along the lines of like, were they wearing suits? Were those security panels wearing suits? So it's just, like, if you think about it, the only thing I feel regulation actually does is it just increases complexity and makes it more difficult for smaller teams to interact with it or to provide value to an ecosystem. Like, the more regulations, then you need a team of lawyers that can read these regulations and assess you. You have to pay them. So you need to then become a corporation, a huge entity, just to navigate these waters. You can't just, get a little sailboat and go sailing in these seas. No, because your sailboat doesn't have a 16-foot mast. It's too tall, so you must pay this guy to assess the safety of your sailboat before you can go into these waters. Like that. That's kind of like an analogy of what it's like, and I hate that. I think it's but at the same time, the whole point of it is it's like where we're protecting the sheep from the wolves, right? And there are a lot of wolves in crypto, and there are a lot of losses, and like even me, I've lost substantial amounts of money in crypto because of fucking hackers and wolves and just shady people. So, would regulation solve that? I don't think so, but maybe a little bit. Like if we turn crypto, DeFi, into CeFi, then everyone's protected by regulations, but not everyone gets to play. It's like it becomes a huge endeavor just to try to interact with that ecosystem. Moving on. So here we have Artchick. Artchick says, I think making fun of struggling NFT artists is probably the lowest thing you can do in crypto Twitter, other than the threats of violence, which is also on the rise, unfortunately. Strange that this place has become, but I have faith that we can return to good vibes here. I agree with her for the most part. I don't think you should be making fun of like these NFT artists. However, I don't know if they're really, I would really call them artists. Maybe there are some that are like actual genuine artists. I've yet to see any. To me, it sounds more like just like a money grab, and like call me a money grabber as well. Like I have an NFT project, and it's literally a money grab. Like I literally call it. You get nothing but a picture and a thank you from me, and I get your money. Like. That's what my NFT project is. And that's what most of them are. They might, say, oh, you get access to my Telegram where you can talk to me. But you already have that for me. If you want to send me a DM, go ahead and send it to me. You might get access to other people. Oh, these people have these NFTs, and these people are cool. So you can then, if you message them, they'll probably answer you. But if someone with a Bored Ape messages you, are you going to answer them? Probably not, right? I probably answer more Bored Ape messages than people with Bored Apes answer people with Bored Apes, if that makes sense to you. So anyhow, I don't think you should be making fun of them though. Like your NFT is ugly. Like I don't know what's going on, but I haven't seen people getting made fun of. So yeah, I already talked about this guy. We've got Bantag. He's got an hour-long video here. I started watching it. It's pretty funny. I don't know. Like it's kind of seems like AI generated. Like obviously it's AI generated, but I don't know if Bantag generated this. But yeah, you can watch through this. I started watching it. I'm gonna finish it after this podcast, but I didn't want to spend an hour watching this thing, and then the podcast is an hour late. So I started watching it, and it's pretty funny so far. It's rich in language and rich in like what you'd call conspiracy theories. I don't know how true it is. I don't know how factual this is, but it's basically saying it's like it's all psyop. This milady thing is all just a psyop and a big extraction and so forth. But you can check it out. Watch this video and see what it says. I'm going to share it with you guys, and I'm going to finish watching it after I upload this podcast and so forth. So off of crypto over to the real world, there is this video here produced by this guy here. What's his name? His name is JZenXer, Canadian guy. This is gonna really piss you off. You can watch through the video, but he's like basically, let me go to the chart. Okay, wait. Let me see. Where is it? Right there. Okay, so if you look at this kind of chart here, basically we've got hardworking Harry who makes $130,000 a year, and we've got subsidized Sam, which he makes like the bare minimum, like minimum wage, $35,000 a year. Hardworking Harry pays more in taxes than Sam actually makes. However, when you take through all these mathings of it, you notice that every month hardworking Harry has less money a month than subsidized Sam to buy food and entertainment and stuff like that. Now, it works all out. Like it's not talking about the fact that hardworking Harry has a Porsche and Sam has a fucking Hyundai. It's not this case. Like it's just basically tax paid, net income, child care benefits. So in Canada, everyone gets, if you have children, you just get like a tax rebate subsidy basically. But Sam gets substantially more than Harry, like 1,800 versus 150 per month, right? It's insane. Okay, rent. So subsidized Sam can substantially get cheaper rent because he can go into subsidized homing, subsidized rent housing, whereas Harry has to pay his rent in full himself. Now, of course, those neighborhoods are going to be significantly different, right? Harry's might be living in like, I don't want to call it a mansion, but like a large, maybe 2,000 square foot house or something like that. Whereas, subsidized Sam is living in it's still 3 bedrooms, but it's like a townhouse inside a community, right? Something like this. There's probably that case, but that even like daycare, like Sam doesn't have to pay as much for daycare because the government will pay the remaining amount. But Harry, because he makes more money, he has to pay it all himself. So I agree with him completely. This stuff kind of bothers me quite a bit. Like the way I think things should work is simple. Like, okay, if you want to give subsidized Sam, let's say $1,800 a month for his children, then you have to give Harry the same amount. Then it works. Then it's fair. And it's still not fair, but it's more fair. Like you can't give Harry less and Sam more just because Sam doesn't make as much. So you're literally taking Harry's money and giving it to Sam. And even if the case where they were to get to the same amount, right, then you're still taking Harry's money and giving it to Sam, but you're just not doing it as much, right? So like, anyhow, that's that. You can check this post out and see how I feel and the kind of crap I have to think about on a daily basis, and why tax paying is insane. Like this literally incentivizes people to just be lazy and do nothing and just do the bare minimum, and just, stay home as much as possible, and so forth. But anyways, that's it. That's all. That's everything for today's show. Thank you so much for watching and listening, or whatever you're doing, and goodbye.